And Yolande, how are you?
I am outstanding. Welcome to the Ed Television broadcast.
Thank you, sir.
So you
Happy to be here with you.
Excellent.
By the way, I don't see you other than a static picture.
Oh, you should be seeing me kind of moving around a little bit behind the green screen. Let's see what's happening here. Make sure I got all my wires. They should be straight enough. Put you back up in there. You sure? You can't
I'm
see
here.
Okay, so you don't see me moving around?
No, I see a static picture of you with a white Stetson on. Is it a Stetson or a?
Yes, it is.
Boy, it looks like it.
Thank
Good
you,
quality. You're getting paid more than you're worth, man. I'm telling you, I can tell right away.
I know, man. I'm trying to get some more. I'm trying to get as much cash as I can. But we got to get my video over there so you can see the smirks on my face. Not really sure why we don't. Why you're not seeing that? Showing that it's streaming to you.
Well, just wait. You just knock that smirk off your face.
Well, I tell you what, if I don't do it, Obama's going to do it for me. So hang on.
Ooh, he's trying.
Okay, so you cannot see me moving around.
No, I got a static picture here. It's maybe it's a good thing.
Well, okay, Jade. Why does he have a static picture? Our moderator, Jade, of our chat. By the way, Dr. Garrow, you can click on that chat. You'll see what people are saying as they watch the show. But Jade is our moderator. Jade, she's also a techie.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, now, can you do anything about the way he looks, Jade? Please say you can.
Oh, man, we're going to have a good time tonight. I see this coming. This ain't going to be no regular broadcast tonight. It never is, though. But
I tell you, I went to Wendy's before I got on here with you. So,
what'd you have? Share. What'd you have with?
I had that chicken thing, the Asiago or what? It's a spicy chicken. It's good.
Oh, is it now?
Little Coke to wash it down. Okay. Straight Coke. I love straight Coke.
Coca-Cola?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay.
No. I may look like one of them weirdo freaks, but I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not. Oh, wait a minute. I see the man. Oh, he was there momentarily. The shock was too much for my system, and it scared you away. There you are.
Can you
again.
See?
Hey.
All right. Can you still see me?
I can see you now. Can you see? I'm waving.
Yes.
I'm waving all my hands. Hey, I'm bowing in abeyance to you, O Master Ott.
All right. Woo! I tell you what, man. All right, well, let's get this thing going. Dr. Garrow, man, welcome back to the show. There's a whole lot going on out there. And, just looking at our bio that we put on you out there, you say this, you say, there are those today who live among us and yet do not serve the God of America, nor do they believe in the freedoms enunciated in the Constitution, rule of law, and his name is Obama.
Amen. You got that right. Oh, I wrote that. Yes, I was right on the mark. It was a good day that day.
Well, okay, it was a good day, but you know what? There's somebody else that wants to step right into his shoes, into his pantsuit or in his pants. I don't know what's going on with that. But Hillary Clinton wants to do the same thing, and I can guarantee you she does not believe in the Constitution or the rule of law.
And definitely not in our God, because look at the way she acts. Look what she does. Mm-hmm. Any Christian virtues, we don't see it coming from her. The ooze that comes out of her mouth are total lies. Total lies.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I saw her this week saying to Donald Trump, saying, you may have violated some laws to do with Cuba or something like that. I'm thinking, well, isn't that the kettle calling something black? You know what I'm saying? Can anybody get a lecture about the rule of law from her?
No, and Donald was so nice. I mean, this is a wonderful portent of what's coming, because he's saving all the big ammunition for later. You know that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you talk about morality, and she's implying that he may have been a little bit loose and fast with the morals. But I mean, come on, she is the biggest enabler of a sex maniac we've ever seen. I mean, Uncle Bill is not a nice uncle. He's out there, many a young lady has had to flee his clutches. And she's been the enabler of the whole thing.
Well, I tell you what, he has his sights on a whole new crop of interns coming into White House. I bet he's dying to see what who's in there now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that the American people are being viewed in the light of this kind of immorality and fecklessness and lying. This woman who will stand there and say, "Well, hey, I gave all my emails in, well, except 31,000 of them." Oh, and I never did this and I never did that, except that she did. Lying in front of the people through the representatives that we have. When they ask honest questions, she gives dishonest answers. And yet she's not in jail. How do you figure?
Well, as I said in my ranty points just before the show, it looks like they've got something on Director of the FBI, James Comey.
Oh,
of course,
yes.
Of course, Loretta Stench. She's in on it. I mean, meeting with Bill Clinton 3 days before the ruling was coming down. It's interesting. Here's what I saw. Loretta Stench said, I will honor the verdict, whatever the director of the FBI says a couple days before, after she's making a deal with Bill Clinton. She already knew the outcome. And then the debate the other night, I thought it was interesting that Lester the molester said, do you, Hillary Clinton, will you support the eventual nominee? And of course, she said yes. Well, of course, she said yes because she knows she's going to be the president. Like Loretta Stench, she knows in advance the outcome. Is it possible, Dr. Garrell, that this election is going to be rigged?
Mr. Oat?
I got a live one tonight, folks. I thought I could slip that past you.
I'm an imp. I'm just terrible. My mother warned me about being this way in public. Jim, don't you dare get sassy now.
I think you need to do this show. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Can it be rigged? Well, let's face it. I know that one major question was either asked, answered, or just lay on the table. How much money from the foundation am I going to get if I let this thing go the way it should? That was Loretta Lynch. She sounds just like that, by the way.
Well, she's obviously a criminal, and I don't know how she even got into the office there. But she decided not to prosecute. But is it possible? Hillary keeps talking about the Russians as if they're going to hack into the election software and alter the outcome, as if they want Trump in there. Of course, they don't want Trump in there. Bing Jong Il, Ding Dong, he don't want him. The Iranians don't want him. So how's anybody? Yeah. Go ahead. You may speak.
You see that hand there?
I do.
Okay. You're busy looking at that hand. See the other hand? It's now in your pocket. Okay. Well, that's a dodge. Of all the things they do, Alinsky said, tell them, blame them for the very things you're doing, and you disarm them. Yeah, they have nowhere to go. And that's exactly what she's doing there. When she's the one who's exercising exactly what she's blaming others for doing. Mm-hmm. That's the technique.
Well, they said last year, it was right here in Indianapolis. They said it was so cold here in Indianapolis that the Democrats had their hands in their own pockets. So that is cold. Hey, we got questions coming in for you, Doctor. This is from New Jersey. Pat wants to know, Obama wants to lead the UN term after his term of president. Is that why he's handing over the internet just in time for that?
Oh, my goodness. Are you suggesting that he'd do something for his own personal gain at the expense of the American public? Madam, you're right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's a great way to pave the way for him becoming the Secretary General of the United Nations, which, of course, he's been offered. We know this for a fact. Mm-hmm. And you were mentioning Xi Jinping. And, of course, we understand his close connection to the Chinese people. And the leadership of China. Watch, this guy is feathering his nest so that when he leaves, he'll get the sweetheart deal of all time. This man is getting everything he wants, and not only is he going to end up with his face on Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
I have a couple of stacks of dynamite for that place. I'll take the whole place down rather than let him put his mug up there.
You will deface it? Get it? Deface it?
Do the real thing. Deface, yes.
Yeah, of course he wants his face up there as if he is somebody. Why is it, though, that back in 2008, the only credential you had to have to be president of the United States is to be a community organizer? But now you have to be a world traveler and travel to 110 different countries and have people killed in Benghazi. Why is that now the standard?
Well, because he couldn't prove he was a citizen. Mm-hmm. I mean, after all, Jerome Corsi proved that what he, put forward as his birth certificate was a fraud. You knew that.
Yeah.
Have you had Dr. Jerome Corsi on your show yet?
I think we had him on. Oh, yeah, we had him on once, I believe, but that was before.
Well, he went to Harvard and he still came on this show.
I know. That's what I'm saying, right? I know, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. No, but here's the fraud, eh? Yeah, smack. Here's the fraud of Obama, and it's a full-bore fraud. You and I have to produce a driver's license or something. Well, when I went to vote, I had to pull up my driver's license and show them that, here I'm from Casa Grande, Arizona, and I have the right to vote. Well, except that they never asked me if I was a citizen or if I was a criminal or anything else.
They're not allowed to ask.
Well, wouldn't that make sense, though, to ask?
Well, you think in one of the highest callings of civic duty, you would think that a citizen would be the only requirement, a major requirement for voting, but they don't want that, and we all know why.
Well, because the president didn't have to show that he was a citizen. And by the way, you know that sign outside of Mombasa, Kenya that says, our birth son?
Yeah, our little Larry.
Your president?
Yeah. How'd that get there?
They were just celebrating the truth. That's all. They were just celebrating the truth, that they were proud of their son, their native son, becoming president of the United States. And that just shows to go you that anyone can become president of the United States. It's so true.
Well, let me ask you, the whole thing, somehow Hillary brought up the birther issue, and then he brought up some bimbo sex tape woman, Miss Piggy or whatever her name is. Obviously, those were questions that took up half of the debate. Yeah. Did Trump fall into a trap on that?
Actually, no. He played with her. Trump's whole deal that night was playing. They are waiting for the cannons to go off in the next ones. We got two more, right? You have a total of three?
Yes.
So watch what happens. I think there's some facts that are going to be coming out. I was talking to one of the advisors, the military advisor, the intelligence advisor today, Mr. Trump, and they've got some very interesting things planned. He has some wonderful people, wonderful loyalists, patriots to America advising him. He surrounds himself not with sycophants, but with the kinds of people who bring expertise to the table. And the kind of expertise that makes a difference in the world scene. Hillary has lots of butt kissers. They're sitting at the trough with her, looking to partake in all the goodies.
And goodies she will dispense, that is for sure. All right, let's get to another one. This is from my buddy Stephen Woodruff, staying up very late across the pond. Says, how can Hillary get away with ignoring a subpoena from Congress? I was talking to him on Facebook, and he asked a question because they see what's happening in the United States from across the pond, and he said, are they really saying that after the subpoena they destroyed evidence? And I said, yes, after the subpoena. How does anybody not get locked up for that? Well,
that's a criminal act, and to protect it and to cover it is also a criminal act. So that is an excellent question, and I think that I'm asking that question. I think Mr. Ott is asking the question, and most of America is asking the question. You and I would be in the slammer if we tried that. And contempt of Congress? Goodness gracious, does that not mean anything? I thought that was like the highest level of breach of law. Being in contempt of Congress. So, and the gentleman is right to ask that question. And we have the right to ask the question. And we're waiting for somebody in authority to not only answer the question, which we know the answer to, but criminality should not be allowed, period, by anyone.
In my ranting points just before the show, I do a little thing. It usually lasts about 5 minutes. I just rant on all kinds of stuff. And I was saying that Obama is passing out nuke technology like James Comey's passing out immunity deals to Hillary's henchmen. Everybody got a pass. Everybody got immunity remotely around Hillary's server. There's nobody left. And usually I've seen enough police shows. You usually give immunity to somebody's got the goods on the big dog, but he gave immunity to the whole crew. Now, what did they got on James Comey?
Well, it's funny. Have you noticed they all took the fifth?
Yeah, of course they did. After they got immunity.
If it was a mistake, why did they need to take the fifth?
Well,
they all said it was a mistake, right?
One of them didn't even show.
Yeah. Well, there's that contempt of Congress thing again, right? So subpoenas don't mean anything. So where are the judges following up on this? Where's the law enforcement officer going to the door and taking that person away in handcuffs? Where are they? Once again, we're not getting real answers about real issues where you and I would spend time in jail. These people seem to be above the law. Is it that they're all in the tank for Hillary? Is that it? Are they all waiting for the payola down the road? Is that the sum total of this whole thing? Makes me wonder, but I don't smell honesty. No. The stench. It's not just Mrs. Lynch, but it's the stench of this. The democratic process has been lynched
Oh, very good. Well said there. Isn't there a biblical term? It says something about a spirit of lawlessness that works. I would say that from the very top is a spirit of lawlessness. It is interesting. I saw one of the Trump rallies on YouTube, and I think it was Sheriff David Clark that said that Donald Trump is a spirit that is put in position at a time when America is at its worst place. For instance, he said that God gave Washington to get America to be free from the British. Abraham Lincoln to end slavery. The certain presidents to get us through World War II. I mean, is it possible that there is a supernatural calling to him? But even if that is the case, is that enough to overcome the evil of the people that are trying to put Hillary Clinton in power?
Well, you open up the whole thing of the realm of the demonic. When we look back at Hitler, definitely demonic activity. He was involved in it. And the Luciferians that are alive and well across America today in positions of authority. We're looking at demon influence across America. When you see lawlessness, who is the lawless one? It's Satan himself is the lawless one. And so if we are seeing lawlessness across the nation, from people who, even in their books, take note of the fact that Lucifer was the first rebel. Do you remember that when Rules for Radicals? Yeah. That's the Mr. Alinsky. And of course, Hillary, did her thesis on Mr. Alinsky and Rules for Radicals. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, she did her thing based on a man who praised Lucifer as being the exemplar of rebellion.
And that brings up a question that I thought I saw pass through the live chat. When Hillary was stumbling out from the 9/11 ceremony, and she's stumbling out to the van there, she had the Secret Service violate protocol at least 3 times. One, you never leave the person that's being protected on the street without that caravan being there ahead of time. 2, they wanted to take her to the emergency room. She ordered to divert to Chelsea. I'm like my mom, Clinton. And then when she stepped out of Chelsea Clinton's apartment, she was completely in a gigantic void where she was the only one there. There certainly wasn't enough time for snipers to be placed as the Secret Service would normally do. There's at least 3 protocols there she ordered to be different. But my question to you, Doctor, by looking at the video of her falling into the van, her shoe being thrown off, and then she comes out completely bubbly and her hair's done and her makeup's on and her purse is on the other side of her shoulder. Was that the same Hillary?
That wasn't Hillary. And you notice the Secret Service were nowhere around when she came out that second time, because the Secret Service have no obligation to protect a stand-in. They will not take a bullet for a stand-in. You realize that. Well, but the person who was falling into the van, that was in fact Hillary. What's that an indicator of? Well, we've seen moments where her attention has gone. Her eyes have glazed over. Her eyes have gone, the nystagmus of the eye, that little fluttering of the eye. That's an indicator of a petit mal seizure. We've seen that. We've seen a lot of indicators that this woman is in deep physical distress.
And now, is it possible, back to the demonic, that was Hillary, but they performed some sort of demonic occult ritual in Chelsea's apartment, and that the demonic powers empowered her, and therefore, as demons can do, they morph in a body like a reptilian shapeshift. Could perhaps gave her power and transform her into a more healthy looking person?
Wow. I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I don't know about that one.
Well, there's a lot of demons running around. All right. Here's a question from Peter in Australia. He says, Hillary really stumbled answering questions in a debate, leading to some to suggest that she was giving the questions in advance. Do you think that was possible?
Well, yes, but she also had a teleprompter in her stand. And by the way, we call those teleprompters apples. She had an apple right there, an iPad. And that iPad, well, you saw when the guy picked it up. He came afterwards. He scooped up the papers, but it was very clearly an iPad that that silver, gray white look. I have one, so I'm looking at that going, man, she was reading from her Apple, which is just another teleprompter.
Which for our folks that I said at 9 o'clock, we have a short video called The Cleaner. So we're going to be showing that. That'll be interesting for the folks out there to look at. All right, let's get to another question. This is a very deep philosophical question to you, Doctor, from Doug White. Are you a Arizona Cardinals fan?
Of course. Need you ask that question, sir.
All right.
I throw it back into your lap and say, I suggest that you, sir, need to clean up your act if you're not a supporter.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll take the knee on that one. All right, Diana asked this question, Jim, how much of a real witch is Hillary?
Well, I thank you for using the W versus the B. And, as you know, those people who work closely with her, I know this is an adult program. No, this is a family program.
Yeah.
But the people who work close with her, the ones that last, the ones that don't fall away, the ones that aren't fired, the ones that don't run away screaming. She's an awful person to work with. The Secret Service folks that are coming forward, Dan Bongino, and the new one who just finished writing a book, and I'm not going to plug his book. He has a lot to say about the personality, the lack of care, the arrogance, the elitist notion that this woman has, the foul language that flows from her lips. This is a woman who is out of control.
Well said. Doctor, will you leave the country if Hillary is elected?
I'm in Canada right now. I'll stay here.
Okay. All right. Here you go. This is from Capablanca out of the live chat. How was Hillary able to look happy and cheerful after she collapsed after the 9/11 World Trade Center visit? Well, yeah, I mean, that should have been a somber day. I mean, obviously, a lot of people were killed. They were reading the names. They had these tributes. And here she is. Oh, it's a beautiful day in New York, which contradicts the earlier statements from her people. It says it was so hot, and that's why she collapsed.
Well, they say that she just needed moisture. She needed to get some water into her. Okay, that would be helpful. But when you pump her full of drugs, and you know the difference between somebody who's been really oppressed by heat, has a little bit of fluid, and then bounces back somewhat. But it was very clear that she's been imbued with some pretty powerful drugs.
All right, we have this question from Philip in Georgia. Is Obama planning to stay after the is he planning to say the election is fraudulent and void it if Trump wins, say, due to voting machine hacking? And that Hillary's putting that out there, and the Department of Justice is kind of going with that too. Homeland Security saying it's possible somebody's trying to hack into our election system this year. Wouldn't they use that aren't they kind of warming us up to the idea it can be done, therefore Trump didn't win?
I wish I had a picture of Putin right here, and I wish I had a picture of Hillary right here, because I would show the picture of Hillary and say, see, that's the lady who had the dieball machines fixed with the Seidel software so that the votes were switched from, her opponent, Sanders. Let's start off at the right spot. Let's go way, way back. How do you think the Obama boy got in there? Well, he got in there by stealing the nomination first, and he did that through the process of voting, and the process was stolen. So this is the pattern of behavior of these people.
Well, and so you think they're going to replicate that behavior right into the general election?
Right into the general election, because they do now have the majority of the voting machines in America are dieballed. And, of course, there goes the Seidel software. Oh, by the way, did you know that both companies are owned by George Soros?
Now, there's a decrepit-looking, morbid-looking freak. It seems like why don't he go back to wherever he came from? I don't know why he feels like he needs to change America into his image. And, boy, is he one nasty-looking dude.
He is, and he can't go back to the place he came from because there is a death warrant out for him. A warrant and the death penalty.
So if Hillary gets in, I noticed that this week, Michael Savage's broadcast, are you familiar with who he is?
I am. I like Michael. Good guy.
And he was kicked off there. All of his network, his network went down. Is that a prelude to what's going to happen when they give control of the internet to the UN? That the voices that object to the criminality of the administration, the government, will literally be called hate speech, and therefore,
yep. Well, they've had it for 4 hours and 40 minutes now. 4 o'clock. It went over to ICANN. They took control. So we have a body that used to be, the functionality of that body, by the way, was to assign the URL, your name, www dot something or other. That's the URL, or the IP address, which is the functional address on the, 144.42.8.12. Those are assigned by, and the names are cleared by and assigned by ICANN. So now they have this supreme authority to regulate the impact and who gets to go on and who gets to go off, and the standards. Now that's something they didn't do before. Now they can call the shot on the standards, which means that if you start talking about Jesus on air, the Muslims at ICANN will say, no, you're not. They'll pull you.
Very well, and that certainly is not a conspiracy theory. And in fact, a conspiracy theory that supposedly happened during the debate, Donald Trump said that they gave him a bad mic. Hillary Clinton said that is just a reckless conspiracy theory by Donald Trump. Then all the news in the last day is that Trump was right, that they did give him a defective mic. How could that happen?
Well, it's easy. You don't put a battery in the mic. You give them one without a charged battery, and so it doesn't function. So you're sitting there, you're putting the off switch, on switch, and it's just not working, and everything else is being checked by everybody, and it's as simple as a battery.
Yeah, I'm
deliberate.
Sure.
It's quite deliberate.
Of course. And Lester, the molester, of course, it was rigged toward Hillary the whole time. Not one question about the foundation or her emails or anything. In fact, all Lester and molester want to know, hey, were you for or against the going into Iraq? Well, who cares? I mean, what has that got to do with the defense of our country? What has that got to do with creating jobs, strengthening borders? What has it got to do with race relations? Nothing. And they spent so much time on that. Obviously, that was giving Hillary a rest so that she wouldn't collapse on the stage.
Yeah, it was doing something for her, but it was certainly attacking Trump. Does this guy still have a job? Can he actually call himself a journalist? I mean, that was such a travesty. It was embarrassing to the American public. They know better. They know what fair play is about. They know the difference between a conspiring to dump on somebody versus asking honest questions, and balance. What happened to, remember that watchword, fair and balanced? It sure didn't. We didn't see it there, did we?
No, and you would think, and I asked you earlier, did Donald Trump fall into Hillary's traps? But surely Donald Trump must have known after the original one with Kelly Megan or Megan Kelly or Bimbo Kelly, whatever her name is, Blood Out the Eyes Kelly, or Sleep with the Man Kelly. I don't even know, but the whole thing was set up against him. He must have known that's how the media does. Wasn't he aware that they were going to go after him? My suggestion for him in the next debate is to tell whatever moderators there are, say, look, you're going to be fair, or I'll just walk off the stage. If you're planning,
he will walk.
Yeah.
He will walk. If there's any more shenanigans, and I think you'll see him point out, as you say, it needs to be said. It needs for him as a leader to stand up and say, look, there's fair ball and there's foul ball, and you guys are not going to do that to me, or you're not going to have me participating. And that goes for this debate and the next one. I will not appear at the next one if the treatment is not fair here. And that means fair toward Hillary as well as fair toward him. So, you know what? I think you're going to see not a different Trump. Trump was playing the game. He watched very closely what they were doing. And one thing he knows, the American public believe in fair play. They didn't sit there and take that in and look at Trump as if he was some sort of an idiot and, gutless. Not at all. They saw what was going on, and he allowed it to happen. Sure. But now we've got their number.
And that's it. What he needs to say is right off say, to the moderators, in the last debate, I was challenged 41 times.
Yeah.
And Hillary was challenged 5. If you're planning that same thing, it ain't going to work. He needs to call them out and say, you know, the United States and the world are going to be watching you guys. So, you know, if you're going to try that, you know, I'm calling you out on the head. You better not. But let me ask you something. You got this wild guy who lost a primary named Howard Dean, of screaming fame. He's accusing Donald Trump of being on coke.
Well, I was on coke earlier, and I just needed a little more ice in my coke, and it would have been perfect. Do you have something jumping up on your screen? I've got something jumping up on mine here.
Nope.
Sorry.
We have a steady stream. Video stream is going well. So is the audio.
Good.
So that's good. Plus, we're recording it, Doctor, and it'll go up on our YouTube channel and our TuneIn radio channel as well.
Well, in answer to your question, sorry, I kind of got distracted by that silliness on my screen because I had it. No, Mr. Trump has never been a coke user. Ask his children. Look at his children. You can get an honest response from them, and also the people who work with them. They'd never say that. I mean, you might get some bimbo who might, because of the need of cash, will say all sorts of things, but it's obviously the need of cash.
All right, we have this question. Let's see who's from. It looks like it's from John. He says, Lester wore an earpiece, and I've heard it was against the rules for him to wear one. Is that true or no?
Well, for Lester, no, not a problem for Lester to have one, but the earpiece that she had, and then the little, her iPad that she had, reading her answers, yeah, that was against the rules of the debate, and you didn't see Mr. Trump making a deal out of it. But did you notice how he kind of skirted around? He didn't want to talk to Lester the molester. He just didn't want to touch him. And in the end, he did shake his hand, but that was. I think he did that just because we thought he better do that.
Yeah, I saw that people pay attention. They saw Lester got up. And then he realized, and then he goes, "Oh, I was just going to scratch my neck, and I'm going to sit back down." So that was kind of obvious. You got to look at the nuances and really watch a replay to catch everything of what's actually going on there. We have a question in the live chat from USA. It says, "Is the USA a republic or a corporation, or what the hell is it?"
Oh boy, there's that goodie. Well, it's both. It's both. So you may as well realize it. It is a republic, but it is an incorporated body as well. And that has more to do with the British setup than anything. So, there were two issues that were being dealt with when independence was declared. One, it was as a corporate entity, and it had to do with the approach that King George took back in the day when they were setting up America, and how the governance would work in terms of having actual states. And the governorships that were assigned, and the land grants, the levies. There's a lot to it, but yes, both is the answer.
Hillary obviously is on some kind of drug, but in the latest video of her speaking, she was starting to cough again. If she coughs during the next debate, is she finished?
No. I think there's sympathy on the part of the American people for anyone who has some sort of a malady, a cough. Well, okay. Now, that one time where she went on and on and on and on with the cough, that was kind of distracting. But I think she's got enough in that, the medical pack that she's now wearing on her back with the catheter to put the drugs into her. I think she'd use it effectively and stop the cough.
So she got a medical pack on back. She got a catheter in the front. She got an earpiece in her ear. She's taking pills. Man, she sounds like she messed up.
She's in need of much assistance.
Well, like I said, I'm going to go back to demonic empowerment to get her in the place she needs to be. All right, here's a question from a live chat from Jerry Kraft, doctor. He asked, how big is the Clinton body count now? How many bodies are in that count right now? Anybody know? Is it 70, 80?
54.
A meme come by on my Facebook, come floating by. You know how they come floating by down the thing, and it said it was Hillary Clinton, and she goes, "I can't help it. People around me just die." And
she laughed. You remember that?
So they do die, and I got a feeling that some of the people that's handling some of her back end facilitations, should we say, whether through drugs or through teleprompters or earpieces, somebody's got to be on the other ear of that. communication, telling her what to say. I got a feeling there's going to be an operational tie-off to a bunch of them folks. They think they're going to get away with it, or they think they'll get the blessing of the Clintons after they get elected. I think they're just going to disappear.
Well, there's either that, or if somebody is handling her back end.
Whoa. That's a visual I'm trying not to go to. Do you mind?
I'm not letting that one go. I thought that was great. That was a priceless one. We got to use that one again. Anyway, yeah, but you know what? Right now they've got her back. They're the ones covering for her. They're the ones that are enabling her to continue to function in spite of her inability, to hold things together on the medical front. Mm-hmm. So, but someone's going to squawk. You know that. Someone's going to go to Fox and say, for $1 million, I'll tell you exactly what's going on.
Well, you must remember something about this show, because this is not the kind of the doomgasm type show, I mean, we're laying it out there just like a couple old guys. So while I'm going to have to give you a visual on that. Well done. I don't mean to do that to folks, but could be
the hips aren't big enough. Hang on. Or is that the butt? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was the back end there. Let's put that up here for everybody to see there. I mean, this is the Edge television broadcast. We never said it was a real show. We just said we come on every Saturday night for the last 12 years. But okay, so in the next debate, you are saying that you believe, according to your sources, that there's going to be a completely different Donald Trump on that stage.
Well, it'll be the same guy, but he will approach things somewhat differently. I think he will set the record straight as to what he believes is fair ball, and then I believe that he'll take on some of the issues that were kind of left hanging. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that were said and not answered, he will answer them. I've talked to one of his advisors even today, and that person assured me that he's got the bit in his mouth and he's ready to ride.
Mm-hmm. I gotta think of bunny wrappers or something. Now I'm thinking of that song "Baby Got Back." I don't even know. I've got to think of like bunnies or crickets or something, man. Bumblebees. All right. So wait a minute. You're in Canada, then what are we talking about Arizona for?
Well, I have a place there. I mean, I hide in Arizona, and got a couple of places in the excited states that I hide out in.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it like stocked in case it goes down?
Well, my wife and kids are up at we have an island north of Toronto in a place called Georgian Bay, and it's like fortified, and it's got we have our own power and water source, and we could grow crops on the island if we wanted, and we got everything there. It's our bug out place. We keep it stocked, so they're up there taking care of business.
Okay, I haven't heard you say "a" one time. How do I know you're Canadian?
Well, do you want me to really say the truth right now in front of this poor bunch of people?
Yeah, why not?
I became an American when I was in grade 8.
Okay. Okay, all right. You get a pass. You get a pass. Hey, but wait a minute. Are you going to be in a movie? What's going on?
I got a bunch of movies on the go right now. Well, actually, back in the last weekend, the Toronto International Film Festival was on, and the Independent Film Festival, and a movie that I star in. Actually, it's called Hippiepocalypse. Whoa. It premiered. Hippiepocalypse. Now, no implication here with the long hair and the beard and stuff, but I was a New Age hippie cult leader in this movie, Father Hova, and I'll give away the entire plot. But I'm a vicious, thuggish, murderous idiot, and I kill everybody. And it's the greatest fun. Being an evil dude in a movie was great. And I just finished another movie called God's Best Friend. You'll see that out in theaters all across America soon. I'm Mr. Jeffries. I'm just a nice old man who's kind of losing it.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like you are now.
Like now, yes.
By the way, Baby Wolf in the UK says, "Love that beard."
Hey, thank you. This is a Robertson special. I borrowed it from one of them there guys.
Well, I got a question for Baby Wolf in the UK. Are you guys allowed to have beards over there, or is everybody being ordered to have beards because kind of Muslim thing there? I don't know. But Doctor, okay, so we've got the next debate coming up. Now, are you gonna watch it? And are you on Twitter?
Yes, I'm on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay. Do you tweet during that?
I may tweet. I've been avoiding tweeting because I understand it's quite dangerous and it's addictive. I've met a lot of people who are trying to recover from their tweeting.
And for those of you just joining the broadcast, we have on our newsmaker line tonight, Dr. Jim Garrow. And if you have a question for Jim, go to the edgeam.com website, click on the Fast Blast link, or join him in a live chat. Keep those questions short for you. Doctor, the libertarians, they're not getting a voice. Will a third party ever have a chance?
Yeah, at some point when things are settled down. But right now we have such a division in America between the right and the left, the commie element and the real Republicans. And I notice I say real Republicans, and many of the independents, by the way, are real Republicans when it gets right down to it. When we get that hammered out a little better, there will be room for a third party.
We were talking earlier in the broadcast about the spirit of lawlessness. Several cities have been burned down or looted. Is that because the commander in chief has given sort of the green light for lawlessness to come through the land? And is that a sort of control mechanism to allow the land to just blow up and then seize control of it more than they already have? What's the end game in that?
He wants to be able to bring in martial law. One of the easiest ways to do it and trigger the need is to make sure that there's rampant racism. So what we see are people of the black community who are responding to his almost a cry for rebellion and lawlessness. He's called for it. He's getting it. We're paying a price for it all across America. But, there are good black folks who are law-abiding citizens, and I think they're going to step forward. And you're going to see a real battle between blacks who believe in law and blacks who don't.
Stephen Woodruff asked this question. It says, Brexit gave the globalists a bloody nose. Trump seems to be sort of the United States Brexit. How will the globalists strike back should he succeed?
Oh, boy. Well, if they were totally crazy, they would take Mr. Trump out. And that is something I pray never happens. But that would be the ultimate end game would be to kill him, sadly.
If that happens, God forbid, would there be a revolt? Or would people say, oh, there the Clintons go again, add another one to the body count?
Well, the law-abiding citizen in America has sat back and watched what's gone on for quite a while. And I think if there was ever a trigger, a button that was pushed that would cause them to get armed and get mean and get out there and start dealing with some of the folks who want to steal our freedoms and turn America into some sort of a commie nation, I think that might be it. And I'm just hoping that, someone on our side of the agenda doesn't get crazy and decide to do something just to trigger it. But yeah, you don't know where things are going, but you see them devolving. It's falling apart. It's not coming together.
Dr. Garrow, have you ever been arrested or investigated for your views?
Oh, yeah. Oh, have I ever? Yeah, no, I'm watched. You heard about the gun plant? I came back from a 28-city speaking tour the summer of 2014, and someone had planted a gun in my travel trailer. I turned it into my son-in-law, who's a cop. He took it in to the local police station, and they came and arrested me. I was charged with 4 counts of weapons violation in Canada, which would have put me in jail for 20 years. And when we went to trial, which was only a month ago, we went to trial, and the Crown prosecutor stood up and said, we are withdrawing all charges. And the judge asked him, why are you withdrawing the charges at this late point? And he said, well, we have no assurance that we could actually get a conviction.
Mm-hmm. It sounds strangely to what director of the FBI said about Hillary Clinton, that he could not get a conviction. But he did have the evidence. In fact, he enumerated the crimes against the citizens and of the United States government codes, federal codes. He gave a list of them, yet they did not prosecute. Obviously, they have something on him. I think I remember hearing Hillary Clinton or somebody saying that he's good enough to be in their administration. So it sounds to me like they were just basically saying, yeah, you wave me off here and you'll continue on in your present position. Well,
I offer a hat tip to Trey Gowdy for the way he questioned Comey. And when he finally summarized the whole thing and said, with everything you put forward, with all of the evidence that you've put forward of her complicity and her criminality, what more would she have to have done for you to charge her? Mm-hmm. And he dodged the bullet.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that, and I thought all these questions I would be asking him too. Is like, this is so ridiculous. How obvious can it be what's going on? And you said it earlier in the broadcast at the front end, saying, is there anybody? Is there a sheriff? Is there a law enforcement organization? Is there anybody that can say, look, this is crazy. The whole government is in on criminality and just covering each other up, just as a big circle jerk, basically. So, I don't know that there is. I do like to hear Sheriff Clark. Have you ever heard of him?
Oh yeah, he's great.
I wonder
he's great.
Don't sheriffs have some sort of power from the constitutional standpoint to do?
No, the marshals do.
It's the marshals,
U.S. Marshals. Yeah.
US Marshals,
In fact, they're the ones who could arrest. They could put a stop to this. In fact, I would love for a U.S. Marshal actually to respond to some citizen like yourself putting in a complaint. Make it a good one, and see if they'll go after her.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dr. Jim Garrow, we're at the top of the hour. We take about a 5-minute break here. Anything you like to say? You got a website, or you got a blog, you got a Facebook, anything that any way people can see what you're doing? Keep tabs on you.
Yeah, if you want to on Facebook, I'm quite open. Jim Garrow. Or Dr. Jim Garrow, either one. I post things there. In fact, it infuriates the left.
Okay, very good. All right, we're going to put you out of the picture here for a few, and then we'll be right back at about 9:06. All right, everybody, you're watching and/or listening to the Edge Television broadcast. On our Newsmaker line is tonight Dr. Jim Garrow. If you got a question for the good doctor, go to the edgeam.com website, click on the Fast Blast link, or you can join him in the live chat now. Next week, we're going to have back with us, Doug Woodward and Anthony Patch talking about revising reality. If you guys started to hear the broadcast last week, it was awesome. We were going deep on that. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to be right back. And welcome back to the Edge Television broadcast. My name is Daniel Lott. If you miss any of this exciting broadcast tonight with Dr. Jim Garrow, it'll begin to replay in our main player directly after the show. And it will also be put up in our YouTube channel, put into our TuneIn radio playlist. For those of you who have the TuneIn app on your device, you can listen to the Edge on any platform, any device that's TuneIn Radio. Also, we'll podcast it as well. Don't forget to come back next week. We're going to have Doug Woodward and Anthony Patch back with us. So let's go back to our Newsmaker line and bring the good Dr. Jim Garrow back with us. Jim, are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
All right. Welcome back to the second hour of the Edge Television broadcast. Man, we were blowing it up in the first hour talking about the shenanigans of the Clintons, but she has to have, in my opinion, there must be some cadre or organization that is facilitating her, that is taking care of the ends. As I said, operational tie-offs, whether it's document destruction or whether it's people committing suicide. So what group is it? I mean, obviously her hands are probably clean, but I believe there's a cadre of some group that is doing that, and it probably has done it for decades. Would you have any idea what that description of that group would be?
Well, there's a name for them, but and I'm sure you know it.
Bastards?
I'm sorry?
Bastards?
They certainly are, aren't they? Yeah. They're not nice people at all.
Okay.
There are 12 of them. There's a group of them. They're out of Brussels, Belgium. That's their center of activity. It's the New World Order. They do have a name that they call themselves, but I never use it, so you probably know it anyway. But they are their intention is to see that all the rulers in the world bow the knee to them.
Hmm. Well, I guess that's what Donald Trump keeps saying. It's the globalists. There are these globalists, and they're obviously led by George Soros. But what does he want? Does he want to be the leader of the world, or is he just trying to help the Bohemian Grove people control the world?
Well, he's an adherent to Machiavelli, who said that the person who is pulling the strings behind the throne in the position of influence is often as powerful as if not more powerful than the person on the throne. So that's what we have, straight out of The Prince by Machiavelli. He wants to be the guy pulling the strings. So what he does is he uses his billions of dollars as leverage against people when he's got something on you, or to motivate people to do exactly what he wants them to do by paying them off.
Well, he does certainly make a lot of money. I wonder if we should follow his advice for playing the stock market. But I would imagine that as he tries to manipulate the United States population into accepting his vision of this globalist world, there must be winners and losers in the stock market. And would those obviously be multinational corporations?
Well, yes, some of them, but he has made he's made a living out of bringing down national currencies. Britain, he brought down the pound. He's brought down a few of them, and I mean, he doesn't play in the little league. He plays in the big league, and I mean, he calls the shot. So I think what he's trying to do is put America in a position where it cannot defend itself, and the dollar will have no value. So he's betting against the dollar. And you can see it in the way his companies are playing the trade game, and it's always at the expense of America. He's hoping to collapse our industry so that we will then be dependent on foreign interests for providing goods to us. Look at what's happened to the automobile sector. I mean, part of the reason for any imagined success that we have is a result of partnering together. General Motors, Ford, whoever, partnering together with these foreign entities and building plants offshore, sending jobs offshore, but then also bolstering jobs here in America. So we have it's a pickle. We're in bad shape in that these people are playing the game their way, and we are going to pay the price not only today but down the road.
Hillary Clinton's organization is nearing $1 billion in funds. I don't know how much Donald Trump's organization is, obviously substantially less, but there's a lot of stakeholders in Hillary Clinton getting elected. And I can't really imagine why inner cities would say, we love her, let's continue the poverty and the crime, and because that's what's going to happen. There's nothing in the inner cities is going to change when she gets in power. Why in the hell would they want to vote her into power to continue the disintegration of our major inner cities?
Well, let's face it. Some people are making out like bandits. Some people are getting tons of money. They're making fortunes, and it's those people who are at the upper level. It's always management. Take a look at the people who are going after the money, who are making the agreements, who are signing the details, and who oversee the demise of the inner city. So, and if you take a good look, notice the color of the skin. Inner cities tend to be black, just in terms of population. They're populated by black folks. And who are the people managing the demise of the black culture, the black family? And poverty-stricken, dependent on welfare. And, of course, voting for the Democrats who have enslaved them, as was predicted by Johnson years ago. He said, we'll have them voting for 200 years for Democrats. Just watch what we do. And, of course, he enslaved them to free housing, free medical, money in the pocket, and the semblance of freedom when, in fact, they're not free at all. They're enslaved.
All right. We have this question from John in Pennsylvania. It says, Are you aware of the Bible code that says Trump wins and Hillary steals?
I've heard this. I've heard that the election will be stolen. I've heard some people suggest that it's written in Scripture or it's codified in Scripture. Right. I haven't seen it myself. I don't know if that's true. But I also believe that the fact of it, the fact that you're stating that it's a possibility, I think that's exactly what will happen. And once again, you're going to see Soros and his organization, Diebold Decidal, stealing the election, flipping the votes, counting. And remember, it was Lenin who said that it doesn't matter what the vote is; it's who counts the votes.
As right, and it's going to be interesting to see if, say, where I'm at, Indianapolis, with 1 million people, if 1,000,005 vote for Hillary. I mean, that, because it does seem like in the last election, there were more people voting in districts than were in the district. And yet somehow it says, oh, okay, they just let it go.
And there were 5 districts in Ohio where not one vote was registered for the Republican candidate.
By the way, I'd like to thank our Democratic senator at the time, Evan Bayh, who was the final cast vote for Obamacare. That bastard, man, he went to Senate then he said, there's too much conflict here in Senate. I've got to rise above. I'm going to just step out of this. I can't take this. So he helped bail out the big banks. Then he went to work for one of those big banks. Now he's back, and he's saying he's back, and he wants to be a senator of Indiana again. I'm thinking, hey, what happened to all the consternation in the Senate? Did that all get fixed now? You going to join the party or what? No, he just went and cashed in. This guy, he doesn't even live in Indiana, and he's a Democrat, and he's trying to get back into the Senate. He's got 2 mansions in D.C., and he's got a condo in Indianapolis that has a value of $53,000. And he made a mistake on the address when they asked him, well, if you live in Indiana, where you live, and he made a mistake in the address. This is the type of things that we have to deal with the Democrats. Now, the Republicans seem like more or less they have a conscience. Like, if Republicans, and I'm not saying I'm Republican, but I'm just saying if Republicans say commit adultery, or if they pull shenanigans, they're out. They are done. There's no way. But Democrats, you get more votes the more crimes you commit.
Yeah, there's no honor among thieves, is there? And whether you're a Republican thief or you're a Democratic thief, they get in on this notion, the promise to the people that they will abide by the law. And then once they get in there, what do? They make sure that when they exit, that they're on the best boards, that they got the best future. And how is it that so many of them go in poverty and come out multimillionaires?
Well, you know what? I've addressed that, and here's my belief on that, Doctor. There are committees before the government, the Congress makes a law. They have committees. Let's just say there's a committee in process, and they're going to put a huge regulation clamp down on the coal industry. Well, what they will do then is they will bet shorts in the market on the coal industry before they pass that law. In other words, they're going to count on the value of that stock dropping, because you can make money by putting money on a failure of a company, just as you can make money on a prediction of a success of a company. They have the inside information. That is how they get rich. They have the inside information. They simply know whatever they do is going to affect the market up or down in whatever category there is, and that's how they get rich. Of course, like you say, when they're done, there's the lobby firms paying direct cash and other ways to get around the laws, and then them working for those companies when they're done.
Yeah, whatever happened to arm's length agreement? Whatever happened to not seeming to be in a position of conflict of interest? That used to be the sort of thing that people of integrity, that's Abraham Lincoln-esque. That's the sort of thing that George Washington, if it were true that, he cannot tell a lie after chopping down the cherry tree, that legend. But, what it's indicating is that we have departed from a moral suasion, a path that was determined as to what was good and what was not good, what was right and what was wrong. It was laid out for us. In fact, it's in the scriptures. And the founding fathers were the ones that said, let's build this nation on the bedrock of righteousness and truthfulness and biblical principles. So once we started throwing the Bible out, we started to lose it all.
Well, why should good people use a good way and not fight back against the evil people who have no rules?
Well, I suggested earlier that, there is a possibility that good folks are going to rise up. And, it used to be that you'd rise up by putting yourself forward and standing for election and going up against the bad guy and offering an alternative. Well, that didn't turn out to be good enough. And when you've got, exemplars in the Republican Party or the Independents, where you thought you were going to get something because the promise was there that there would be change in the direction of morality. And what happens? They get in the position, they do exactly the same thing as the Snidely Whiplashes who were in there before from the Democrats. So, hey, what we need possibly is a rising up of the public generally and overthrowing these, well, as you call them. What was that word? Starts with B, and it's not
bastards.
Yeah,
see,
that word.
When you're a cowboy, you can use words like that. See.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but the woman that runs the company that makes the EpiPen, who caused that thing, the charge of that just went astronomical.
$300. It used to be 18 or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, wasn't it her dad got contributions from that company, and then he went to the company and said, we need to put her in as chairman of the board, but she didn't even have the credentials. So then he bought her a diploma. You know, she somehow got an honorary one, and so they say, oh, now she got one now, so she can go ahead. Now she's making millions of dollars. This is kind of incestuous stuff that goes on in Congress every day. There needs to be term limits, but they're the ones controlling it. We'll never get to that point.
No, you're right. But again, you got to go back to who's going to set the standards, and then what are you going to do when the standards are broken? Who will marshal this thing? Who's the one that's going to invigilate truth and honesty and the abiding by law? When they won't do anything to each other. Senators back each other, even though you're backing a guy who happens to be a layabout and a lout and a thief and, promising making money right, left, fistful of money.
All right. We have this question from Sir Blintez. He says, is there any meaning behind Hillary's middle name, Rodham, Rod for power, Ham, the African nation?
Well, that was her maiden name. She came from the Rodham clan. I have no idea if there's any tie-in between Rod and Ham.
Well, all right. We have this question here. It says, wait a minute, it's the same question. Never mind. I got the same question twice. All right. So, Doctor, what do you see is going to happen the first day that Hillary's in office? Let's just say I want to say the first day that Hillary's in office, and then we'll go say if the first day that Donald Trump is in office. What's Hillary's first day like on the job? Is she going to kiss Huma?
It's very hard for me to even approach that question. I feel like I'm about to go into a catatonic state, that everything about me is going to shut down because I cannot stand the thought of it. It's as if you have just assaulted everything about me as a person and asked me to even speak about it. And I'm actually tongue tied. I have no idea well, actually I do.
Okay.
You asked about Huma. Okay. Huma Abedin. So you've got the Muslim in chief.
Okay.
One of the things that she will do immediately is allow at least 100,000 Muslims in, and the Syrian Muslims are the ones you got to really worry about. And the fact of the matter is, we have people in the United States who have been working overseas, and I'm talking about Major General Paul Vallely. I don't know if you know about him, but he's been over there brokering deals to get people who have been kidnapped and held hostage from oil companies and telcos, and and it happens all the time. We don't hear about it day to day because we don't get it from the news media. It paints a bad picture of Muslims. Did you know that? If they're if they're like kidnapping people and holding them for ransom and getting millions of dollars from our companies with no help from the government. Recently, a man was let go from a kidnapping situation, and the government wouldn't even help him get home. He had to buy his own ticket to get home. He'd been in captivity for a year, and our government did nothing for him. But we have patriots like Major General Vallely who are doing that. They're over there and they're working on the for our best interests and the captives who've been kidnapped.
Is that similar to? Didn't they make a movie out of Ross Perot? He sent his people over there to get his people. He sent a group over there to get his people out because the government wouldn't.
Yeah, that's right. But that was a military exercise. That was a mercenary group that went successfully and rescued his employees. Yeah.
Now there's a guy tried to clean the barn out. Okay, he wanted to go to Washington D.C. and clean that barn out, but they wouldn't let him. They turned him. They said he was a kook. And, I think he was a threat to the system too. In fact, obviously he was the last businessman, I think, to get to as close as he did. The last time around, we did have, a couple of business people running for president, but Donald Trump's got closer. Well, let's talk about Donald Trump's first day in office. Is that more palatable to you?
Well, I could accept that. Mainly because I know there's a commitment on his part and the people that he's bringing with him. And you got to look at the people who are surrounding Donald Trump. Who is he bringing? He's bringing people who have the skill in each area that he's identified. For example, I mean, we mentioned earlier Trey Gowdy. Well, do you know that Trey Gowdy has been approached about becoming the Attorney General of the United States? Now, can you imagine the difference between how, let's say, someone like Loretta Stench handles things and how Trey Gowdy would handle things? He would actually ask questions that would demand that people answer appropriately, that they were abiding by the rule of law.
Yeah.
And not, running roughshod over the rule of law. So I think what we see with Donald Trump is from the very first day, we will be absolutely shocked to find that the best and the brightest in America, who are constitutionalists, who are believers in the rule of law, who believe in God, the God of America, he will be surrounded by those people, and you will see that the cabinet that he has will be not only strong and effective, but they will be world class in every area of our need as a nation.
Well, he doesn't have to say, answer every question that comes up. Okay, well, what's your policy on this and another? You're right. It's more of what he needs to say is what you said. Who makes that policy? Obama didn't go in there and say, I've got all this wisdom. Even him, whatever henchmen he had surrounding him are the people that gave him information to make a decision. He didn't have information and experience on world politics or anything. And so it's not really that you look at, do you have a pat political answer for every policy, but do you have a way to get the answer, the correct answer that will move this country forward? And like you said to Hillary Clinton, you've had 35 years and you're just now saying, oh, you want to help the inner city. You want to help when are you going to start? Why are you just starting now? Why haven't you fixed it? In fact, if you had to fix anything, why are you even running? Because what's broken? Because if you admit something's broken, then you're admitting that Obama had a failed presidency.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's
and
caught.
if you ask her the question, what is it that you're most proud of as Secretary of State? What have you accomplished that you are most proud of? She would be hard pressed to find anything that wouldn't just be, I don't know if you've heard this word before, that wouldn't just come out as bafflegab. Bafflegab, just, talking away there to baffle the people, making them think you said something when you didn't. Bafflegab.
Okay, I got
That's
that
one of my favorite terms.
Okay.
And the other favorite term, by the way, is eduspeak.
Ew.
Eduspeak, which is educator language to try and buffoon their way through.
Yeah, well,
make them.
Well, that's what I hear every time Hillary speaks. She'll speak and she'll say stuff, but it's like, what did you say?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at what she's done in the years that she's been Secretary of State, it has been abject failure after abject failure. Everything she has touched has fallen apart. And we can never forget the treason and the absolute horrid way she allowed those four to die in Benghazi. That lies at her feet. She should be charged for that. Their murders should be laid at her feet.
Like it came out just in the last day that it was not a conspiracy theory about Donald Trump's mic having a problem. That Politico ridiculed him. Hillary Clinton ridiculed him. They need to issue an apology. They really do. But here's another sort of conspiracy, which you're actually saying right there. Benghazi, I think it just came out today that they were running guns. And that's been a sort of a sideline conspiracy to the whole Benghazi thing is what were they doing there? And, after all the security breaches and demand for security, and it appears that the CIA was running guns to who knows what group. They all sound like dare I say, even look alike. I mean, screaming, la, 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 like, I don't know what they're saying. They're running through the desert, and they're going, la, 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 la. What is that? Can they even speak English for a second so we can understand? But, they're running guns just like Eric Holder was running guns down south. Why didn't he get arrested?
Mm-hmm. Well, Benghazi was the failed movement. They got caught. Chris Stevens, one of the complaints he had with Hillary Clinton was, look, we're going to get caught. They're going to use these guns that we're providing them with, not against ISIS, which, again, that's a creation. That's a creation of Hillary and Obama. And it was meant to stop the Muslim Brotherhood. That was the whole idea. And they funded them and they armed them. And of course, what happens? You end up with the Muslim Brotherhood and ISIS itself going into Benghazi and killing our people. Ambassador Chris Stevens knew exactly what was going on. And he said, look, this is blowing up in our face. You got to stop it. I will not take part in this anymore. So what does Hillary do? When he's surrounded and his life is on the line, she provides no help. So she wanted to wipe him out so that he wouldn't be going in public and starting to tell the truth about the gun running.
And when you talk about character for someone to say that the parents of the murdered Benghazi, accusing them of being the liars. This is the same woman that says she dodged sniper fire in Bosnia when she did no such thing. The bold-faced lies she does, but that to me shows a part of a character that there is nothing in there. You said it right here in that bio section. We said that there are those today that do not serve God of America. Well, they don't have to say serve him. Maybe you just believe in him. You'll have some limitation to what you say and how you say it, but she has no limitations. Therefore, the evil that comes out of her, the issues of lies that flow out of her, is just part of her. I don't know if she can't help it, or she's on automatic lie, or what that is, but that's a real character trait right there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's is it a mental illness that she has that causes her to lie with alacrity? It's as if she believes that if she states it, it becomes fact. Versus when people start to fact check what she has said, it turns out that she was lying all along. In fact, she used a lie to support a lie to support a lie. So, that's a serious character flaw. There are others, of course, who suggest that demons don't tell the truth, and people who are possessed of a demon, that's the natural bent, is to lie.
Well, we certainly know who the father of lies is, but I've often wondered, does the father of lies have a daughter, and is her name Hillary? You can write that one down.
She'd get my vote on that one.
So I've been writing down things here, bafflegab and eduspeak. See, so I'm taking notes, man, because I don't have no problem lifting what you say, and then I'll use it later at a later date to make myself look good.
Oh, right on. You got to look smart. Part of being smart is stealing from the right folk.
Well, now see, a difference when you're talking about Donald Trump. As long as I would imagine that he has lied in his life. I mean, in fact, the first person who's never lied, go ahead and tell me in the live chat that you never lied. So people lie, but the difference between Hillary lies and Donald Trump lies is let's just say he lied about his university. Okay, something to that effect. Well, when Hillary lies, people die. Okay. When Hillary lies, say, like carrying on the Obama lies of healthcare, his lies have cost millions of jobs from lost completely. And then there's millions went from full time to part time. And then there's millions that can't afford it, and they're extracting money, and their premiums going way up. So if Donald Trump lied within a certain little piece, it didn't affect the entire country. And people aren't dying because of it. When Hillary talks, you talk about blowing up the entire Middle East with a policy that is so failed that it blew up the Middle East, caused 4,000 or 5,000 soldiers to die, caused a wave of immigration to destroy Europe. Those are the kind of lies that we cannot have in the Oval Office line, whether or not you say, even if you cheated. That didn't kill anybody, and it's not sending soldiers to their death. But Hillary's lies have done so. That is the difference.
Yeah, and of course, it also sets us on a course, because being Secretary of State, you helped to develop the direction of the nation overall. So she has put us on a course that will have us, in the end, probably nose to nose, militarily, I'm going to suggest, with China. And a lot of it has to do with the decisions that were made by Hillary Clinton, policies that have continued on. And of course, there's the fact that Mr. Obama, who has no credibility in China, you know what the man on the street calls him?
Laughing dog?
No, they call him the monkey man.
Uh-oh.
And let me tell you what that means. On street corners in China, there are entertainers who have monkeys, and the monkeys do tricks. Right. And when they refer to him as Monkey Man, they're talking about somebody who is the strings are being pulled by someone else. So their notion of who he is not that he's his own man, not that he's the leader of America, that he is a puppet in the hands of someone else pulling the strings. That's what that means. So, when the Chinese people take a look at America, they have great respect for America. They fear America. But they think this man is a farce. Well,
I don't think they have to think. They just have to know, because that certainly seems what he is. All right, so let me get to this question here. This is coming out of our Fast Blast. So what's your opinion of the Monsanto takeover by Bayer?
Oh, by Bayer Pharmaceutical? Or Bayer Pharmaceutical, right?
Yeah.
it's like everything else in America. It would seem that foreign entities can come in, and they can, in the end, either co-opt a cooperation from people at the highest level, like Obama. Like, you cannot just come in as a foreign entity and take over an entire industry in America without having permissions. That just isn't allowed. Mm-hmm. So, foreign trade practice. Where are the protections? For the common man, the worker, because you know what will happen. Mm-hmm. Jobs will end up going overseas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here in Indianapolis, Carrier fired 1,500 workers and sent the entire company down to Mexico. Of course, Trump refers to them, I'm going to put words in his mouth, as a bunch of nerve-wracking sons of bitches. And I would say any company that does that is going to fall into that category. But recently, Hillary's idea of jobs seems to be she's going to create 5 million, what is it, AmeriCorps jobs, which is nothing but what's that? Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, damn Corps, I don't know what kind of Corps it is, but those nothing but government jobs. That's not a private sector solution. That's the government creating jobs. And what kind of future and climbing up the corporate ladder do you get working for the Peace Corps? Okay, it's just for somebody. It's for basement dwellers to get off their damn ass, quit playing video games, and go out there and play video games at the AmeriCorps government office. That's not a job.
Well, yeah, but that's the way socialists look at it. They look at industry is negligent in their care of workers. All they're looking for is a businessman. All he wants is profits, and it's always stealing from the common man, stealing from the nation. Mm-hmm. That's their view of just Joe entrepreneur. They don't realize, they never recognize. They may realize, but they don't recognize that it's the small businessman all across America who's creating the most jobs. Always has. And yet government wants to be able to throw $1 billion to some stupid thing like Solar City or something, and set up solar plants because it fits their green agenda, their green dream that is really the green nightmare, unaffordable things. So they throw the money in there. They get to have all the wonderful things written about them and said about them by their commie friends in the media. And in the meantime, what does it do? In the end, it takes money away from those who need it in America, and they give it to these also-rans. It's interesting. I tell you what, I wish I was up on the stage during the debate because I would have answered the question. Trump started to go down that question when Hillary Clinton said, she's going to create green jobs. And I think Trump started to say, you mean like Obama did? Well, see, I happen to remember Solyndra and a bunch of other frauds that Obama perpetrated. He gave them $500 million to create solar panels that were unaffordable. And then the company, 30 days before they filed bankruptcy, they renegotiated with the government that said, should we ever file bankruptcy, that everyone in the company that invested will be paid off, and then the taxpayers would be paid off second. Now, here's Hillary getting rid of the same old crap about building solar panels out in the desert and then selling the company to China. I mean, that is ridiculous. Nobody's going to buy her solar panels. It's not even a statement. He really should have pressed her on that. Yeah, I agree. And I hope that in the next debate, or the one after, you'll end up seeing a taskmaster going at it, and admitting that the fact that these fraudulent agreements are again, they're an insult to the American public. The American taxpayer is getting it on the chin every time. And every time these guys take care of their buddies, their corporate buddies, I'd like to see somebody actually put a pin in a mark on a wall and say, here's this company's name, and here's the string that attaches directly to Hillary Clinton, and here's the payoff over here, and here's how it was, laundered through this company to this company to this company, and this guy donated $5 million to her campaign. I'd like to see a lovely little package put together and then presented to a prosecuting attorney so that these people are exposed for what they are. They're crooks. Common thieves.
Right. And how could he have let go? And hopefully, like you say, you're trying to give me some hope there. I'm going with doomgasm here, or edgegasm. That's where we discovered, because the show's called The Edge. So this is an edgegasm. But she allowed the sale of 25% of the United States uranium to go to the Russians. And then she's complaining about the Russians. But the Russians paid her foundation millions of dollars, and they gave millions of dollars to Bill Clinton for speaking fees. What kind of incestuous BS is that? They have to have copies of her emails. They're going to be ones controlling her.
They do, but look what she does. She turns around and says, Putin is the one that's hacking into, the Russians are hacking into our internet. You know, so she on the one hand, she's covering over everything that she's done with the Russians by giving them the uranium, you know, as much as she has. Mm-hmm. By the way, the Chinese have also been given huge swatches of land that have rare earth minerals right next to the land where the Russians are supposed to be looking for the uranium. They're right next to each other. But here it is. It's the old Barnum and Bailey, you know, switch. Bait and switch. Yeah. So she's got us looking at Trump, and looking at Putin. In the meantime, she's making deals with Putin and, stabbing the American people in the back.
So are you saying liar, liar, pantsuit on fire?
Oh, I hate that expression. But anyway, yeah, that works.
Okay. This is, in fact, speaking of Putin, Philip from Georgia says, is Putin as bad as the news media makes him out to be?
No, not at all. He's probably, got to remember, he was the head of the KGB. Mm-hmm. Okay, now that's like, it's like the, who were the guys who wore the black outfits with the Nazis? The SS? Yeah. So he basically headed up the SS of Russia. Mm-hmm. I mean, these are the hardcore commies. These are the guys where, you know, you go to the gulag. Well, the guys who deal with you, once you get to the gulag, mm-hmm. that was his bunch. Mm-hmm. So, and they're the spies that come into America, from Russia. So, yeah, he's a bad dude, but he's a dude, you know, where he's at and where he's coming from. Unlike Hillary.
I'm burdened with some memory on previous elections. I remember that, China illegally gave Bill Clinton $18 million. And he allowed then, or probably beforehand, before he got the money, Loral Space Technology to give the Chinese the tech to aim their missiles. Their missiles, I understand, couldn't hit within 20 miles of its target in long range, but the tech that he allowed to be transferred or sold over there. And so he sold that tech. And then he got a massive campaign contribution, which was illegal anyway. I mean, these people don't care if we get blown up as long as they stay in power and they get a bunch of cash.
Yeah, you're right. And by the way, that programming had to do with minor adjustments so that to change the track of a missile, the trajectory of a missile, because they didn't have it. They didn't have the ability. Yeah, it was a software patch. That's what they needed.
Steal it. They didn't know how to steal it at that point. Now they can, of course, through the internet.
Yeah.
Here's a question. It says, was Obama involved in the attempted coup in Turkey?
Against Erdogan? Yes, of course he was. They play both ends against the middle. He supports Erdogan on the one hand, then he has the CIA go in and help the traitors to Erdogan, work. Mm-hmm. That's the way it works.
So these people are un-American.
Yep.
And they're anti-God. I tell you what, I don't think I've ever heard Hillary say, Jesus bless you, and she may have said God bless you, but she obviously is facetious in tone and tenor. But she doesn't seem to have that sort of base that comes out of genuine sympathy or empathy, because it's facetious. She's a fraud. And I understand what you're saying. When I try to force you to say something about her, it's just like, it's like hearing her speak. Ooh, are you kidding me? Turn it off, please. Turn it off.
Yeah. Stop the pain, please. Yeah. Yeah, no, I hate to listen to her as well, because you know that all the smiliness and all the, bug-eyedness, she's just an abject liar. Well, by the way, she's the one who's going to be totally in support of Muslims coming into the country and being appointed into highly sensitive positions throughout the government and in the intelligence agencies as well. And there is no way when a Muslim puts their hand over their heart and they do the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm telling you this, it's a lie. Mm-hmm. It is a lie, because their book tells them to do this, to lie, taqiya, make us think that we are brothers and sisters together. And it is the most false and vicious of subterfuge you could ever see. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't allow one of them in the door. Mm-hmm. And that's not racist. Mm-hmm. That is protecting America against a hideous disease coming in. That's end game is to destroy us and to murder us.
Well, see, now that's part of the other fraud is that they say if you're against Muslim, you're a racist, but Muslim is not a race. That is convoluted, and Americans are so shallow they don't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even a religion. It's actually an ideology. It's a politically based ideology, a governance-based ideology.
By the way, I stopped following the story of the train that recently wrecked. I did read a headline that said somebody said they heard an explosion beforehand. What's the latest on that? Are you aware of the latest findings on that?
They're actually finding pieces of an explosive device. They're not sure whether it was on the train itself or on the track.
So angry Christian, angry NRA guy, what?
Yeah, look at all those right wingers, all those angry Christians who go out and do all those awful deeds everywhere across the nation. We have to watch them.
Did somebody hear just before the explosion? Did somebody hear somebody yell "Praise Jesus"?
Yes, and that's what you always hear with the terrorist attacks.
But just 6-7 months ago, they were talking of immigration of the Syrian refugees in the numbers around 10,000. A month later, it went to 65,000. Now we're up to 100,000. And I got a feeling that when what's her face gets in, Rodham, that it's going to be 1 million or so. I mean, there's going to be just a continual loop, either gigantic ships coming over or planes. And who's paying their who pays airfare? Does anybody even know that?
We do. We pay it.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, speaking of that paying, Obama seems to have found a secret fund to pay for the bankrupt Obamacare. It's a fund that the government, I guess, started in 56 or so, and it was designed in case the government gets sued. Well, he wants to pilfer that fund and then pay the healthcare companies. Really, it's just taking money from the taxpayers and propping up, throwing more money at a failed thing called the Obamacare.
That's it. Well, he can't admit failure. He never will. No. That's just not his way.
He just said it ain't funded enough. But then again, he also said, speaking of lies, that it's a zero-sum game, that it wouldn't add 1 cent to the deficit, that you could buy a health plan for the cost of a cell phone, of course, that you can keep your doctor, and that your premiums would never go more than $2,500.
So we needed a huge Joe Wilson moment where all of the Republicans in the House would stand up as he stood there lying about Obamacare and saying loudly, "You lie. That's a lie."
Well, somebody needs to say that to Hillary, because she's the one who's coming into power. And it don't seem to me that Obama even likes Hillary. He's just putting up with her because she's a Democrat, or she's guaranteeing him that she'll protect his legacy. And of course,
that's a major part right there.
For a second, Dr. Garrell, let's discuss the legacy of the last 8 years. We've got Obamacare just disintegrating. We have cities burning down. We have the biggest deficit in the history of mankind. Those are the highlights. We have the entire Middle East is blown up. I mean, they're just rocks and rubble the whole way. It's nasty over there. You got Iran getting the nuke, and you got this crazy Jong Ping Ding over there in North Korea. He wants to launch. Everybody wants to launch the nuke. Everybody got nukes now. He's handing out nukes. Obama's handing out nuke technology like Comey's handing out free passes on their crimes.
Absolutely right.
What kind of legacy is that to protect? I'm not seeing it. Oh, I guess the highlight. I forgot the highlight. The number one, and this is, I guess I could have had a Letterman countdown, is that grown men can now go into the restroom with little girls. I think that is absolutely the highlight of his legacy. There
it is. I think you've hit it. You've hit the number one. That is such a thing of substance that has moved America's benchmark forward beyond belief. There's nothing greater than to know that you can go into any one of the little rooms and do your business and be sought after and thought of as a hero because you went into the one with the little skirt on when you were wearing pants.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, whatever happened to Bird Dog?
Oh, Mr. Bird-Doll.
Well, I say Bird Dog, but go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Bird-Doll. Well, I don't know. He should be running a government department, according to Mr. Obama. Isn't he like a conscientious objector?
Okay. Well, forget him. What happened to Adel Hassan? Where's that case at?
Oh.
Is he still getting paid?
Well, here you go. I mean, you haven't heard about it, have you?
Nope. How many years has it been now?
Well, it's been years, but here you got Allahu Akbar, right? There it is. If you put those two words in front of anything you're going to do that's evil and dastardly, and you get a pass.
Yeah, you get a pass and promotion.
And so welcome to the world of Obama, La La Land. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where we're at.
Well, it's clear he is a Muslim sympathizer. Some would dare say he is in fact a Muslim, but he has said more things about supporting the Muslims than he has about the United States. Have you seen a video of the Saudis running into the White House right after the Congress started to discuss the fact they were going to allow people to sue the Saudis? Have you seen that video?
No.
I have never seen anybody run into the White House so fast. There's like 3 Muslims in their big white garbs, their dresses they wear, and they're running into the White House, obviously. And then right after that, Obama jumped on Air Force One and went over to Saudi and went to the king, bowed down, or bend over, whichever. They probably like bend over there. And then, told him that he was going to try to make sure that law didn't get passed. Well, that law did get passed. And today somebody's already issued a lawsuit against the Saudis and their complicit, part of 9/11.
Yeah, there's that, and then of course you've got the parents of the folks from Benghazi who are going after them too, because that whole ISIS Muslim Brotherhood Saudi-backed effort, they're all together in it. It's a big conspiracy. Ain't no theory, but it's the real thing.
So let me ask you then: is it possible? Is this theory possible that because the Saudis are one of the number one, or if not the number one contributor to the Clinton Foundation, i.e., directly to the Clintons, because they're skimming they skim their part off the top. They put 6% of their income to the Clinton Foundation, 6% go out to projects, 94% go into their pockets and operational cost, obviously. But is it possible that they're putting that money in there? And I'm looking at a long-range term plan for Hillary to come up with these cockamamie ideas of who to manipulate in the Middle East, therefore blowing up the Middle East, therefore causing a wave of immigration so that Islam can take over the Christian Western European nations. Was that whole thing part of their plan?
Yeah, of course, look at Merkel and the mistake she made in allowing the Muslims into her country. Look what Cameron has done the same thing with Britain. So you've got the whole of Europe is falling apart because the Muslims are going in. They will not obey the laws. It's rape and pillage and steal. That's what they're doing. Because, by the way, their religion says they can do all of that, because if you do not serve Allah and Islam, then you are an infidel, and an infidel you steal from, and you take the head off the infidel's body. So, all of this is laid out in their Quran and Hadith and the Surah. These are their instructions for how to live with us. And it's not that they will live with us. They will kill us, so they don't have to be. In fact, they will then take everything we have, because Allah says it's rightfully theirs. Right. Therefore, go and take it.
Yeah, and I don't know why they keep saying Aloha snack bar. I don't know what's going on there. It sounds like they want a snack or something. But so seems, and of course, in the last couple of days, Hillary Clinton has said that Angela Merkel is her hero. So that's her idol, okay? And so obviously she wants to emulate that, and what's going on in Western Europe, she wants to happen here in the United States. I don't know that, they may allow her to continue as a woman, a leader, but if this country turned to Islam, there would not be women leading.
Oh, no, there wouldn't be, and there wouldn't be women walking freely on the streets. There would be the end. Where are all these women's livers? What happened to them? Why aren't they standing up demanding that these people be kept out of the country? Because they would be the first to be raped. You realize that? They haven't got a hope, and yet they're silent.
I've wondered that question myself, Doctor, about that. Why would are they submitting to that? Or are they just accepting the fact that, the women get the worst of the deal? So is it that they really want to continue? They would rather have a liberal ideology and sacrifice their own bodies in the cause to facilitate that? Because you would think that they wouldn't, say, if my ideology is allowing this to happen to me, why would you support that? Why would they support that? Is it they're completely brainwashed? Well,
I don't know, but whatever happened to being equal to a man? That was the basis of the whole women's movement. It was, we demand to be treated exactly as men are treated. And have the same opportunities as men, and be paid the same amount as men. This is like the craziest twist to that whole movement, if they remain silent while all of this stuff's going on. And then there's the encouragement of bringing these people in and situating them in government housing. Have you seen what's happening with government housing when Muslims move into an area? They push everyone else out, and they will not allow a non-Muslim in. And this is government housing.
Yeah, it's called no-go areas.
No-go areas.
First they said they don't exist. You're a conspiracy theorist, but they do exist.
Yeah, do they ever?
Well, Dr. Jim Garrell, we're here at the end of the broadcast. I'm going to give you the video mic. Anything you'd like to say about either your Facebook, website, what you're doing, movies, whatever you want. Self-promotion. Promote yourself.
No, I don't want to promote myself. I want to promote the folks that are thinking right, who are constitutionalists, who believe in the rule of law, and I want to encourage them to stand up, get involved, get out there, start slugging it out. Go to your city hall, stand up against the people who want to give away what is rightfully yours. Remember something. God blessed America. Why did he bless America? It's because we were blessing God. He promised that. That was the deal the founding fathers made with that God, that if you will bless us, we will come back and bless you. And of course, we've turned our backs on God. So get in there and remind people of the promise that we made. And then get up and stand up against this wave of Muslims coming in who want to defame the name of our God and raise another God up as a new God of America.
Okay. Well, Dr. Garrell, I appreciate you coming on the Edge television broadcast. Can we have you on again sometime?
Absolutely, sir. You know, even though I've insulted you, Mr. Oat.
All right, Mr. Jarrow.
It's been fun. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Daniel.
All right. Good evening. All right, everybody, that was Dr. Jim Garrell on the Edge television broadcast. It was so great to have him back on the program. If you missed any of this exciting show, it will begin to replay immediately after the program. And you can pick it up again on our TuneIn radio station and our podcast as well. Everybody in the live chat is thanking the good doctor. Next week, Doug Woodward and Anthony Patch will be back with the program. You cannot miss that show. We had some technical difficulties last week, and it was getting awesome, and it will remain so next week. 2 weeks, Chris Harris is going to be talking about the unhyphenated American. Let's get the hyphenated American. Can't we all be Americans? Joining together, singing a song. I like to teach the world to drink a Coke.